I've been watching Phil again, Wings of Pegasus, and I do love his channel. It's very good, and some of these technical looks at whether people are miming or whether they're auto-tuning are quite fascinating. One of the problems is that I think I'm getting a bit paranoid. So I've been looking around at and listening. When I used to sort of listen to a track on YouTube, for instance, so I'd go to an artist that I quite liked, and I mean, they're not necessarily known artists, not very well-known artists, but I'd be going and watching a YouTube channel and I'd be sitting there listening and thinking, how the hell do they perform so well in front of the camera? And how are they managing to be sort of note perfect and waving microphones around and still being, a perfect sort of sound? How are they doing that, And I was just sort of thinking, oh, brilliant. They're really, really good. And they know what they're doing. And they obviously deserve their 1.5 million subscribers or whatever it is, because they're singing brilliantly, as if they're in a studio, sort of. And I mean, when I say a studio setting, I mean, when you're singing in a studio, you get the red light scenario, and that basically means as soon as that red light goes on, there's pressure, and you do have to perform. But and it's hard to do that. However, the environment in a studio, now what I mean by that is this, what I've got here, which in my studio, so I've got acoustic treatment, and basically the sound in here is quite dead. Sorry if that's a bit it's a bit loud, that, isn't it? So what I mean by that is there's no room, or there's not much room ambience. So if I'm going to sing in front of a camera, then there's two pressures. There's the pressure of knowing that you're on a camera, and there's the pressure of knowing that this is going to be the take. However, what I've noticed, and this is my whole point really about this thing with Wings of Pegasus and things like that, is he's sort of pointed out that some people are miming. Now, he doesn't actually, I think I've said this before, he doesn't actually say you are miming. The analytics prove it. There was one case where poor old Cliff was singing away merrily, and in his dance routine, nobody told him that if you move your microphone down and sing, that's pretty obvious that you're actually not singing, isn't it? You've got your microphone behind your back almost, and your vocal's still coming through. Well, that can't happen, can it? So I'm moving that scenario into a lot. Well, I'd say a lot, quite a few. I mean, do you know there's probably more than you even know out there on YouTube? All these really good YouTubers that you're thinking are actually performing live in front of the camera, they're not. What they're doing is they're pre-recording their track with less pressure. All they're doing is they record the vocal separately, they record the guitar separately. If there's two people singing, they're recording the vocals separately as well. They also use bits of software to just, they've got the time, you can sit back. It's like creating a record. Now, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Everybody that listens to a record, they probably understand that there's going to be some manipulation of that record. There's going to be a few bits and pieces that have been double tracked. There's going to be some bits and pieces where they might add a support vocal to it. Look, anything can happen. It's a little bit like people saying the camera never lies. Now, you take a photograph, we all know Photoshop. Well, it's Photoshop for musicians. But what really, I say annoys, and I don't think that's the right word, I just feel a bit sad when there are people on YouTube that are sort of conveying the thought that they are singing live. So they're singing live in front of a camera, they're singing live in front of a microphone, they're recording it live, but they're not. Now, I don't like to name names, but if you go and listen to a successful YouTuber called Megan Davies, unfortunately she's got the same second name as me, Davies, and she's got 1.5 million subscribers. And it's quite obvious that she has, well, it wasn't obvious at first. As I said, I was listening to this thinking, wow, how does she manage to do that? So there's one of her videos, there's numerous of her videos where she's actually singing, but not singing. So in other words, there's one performance that she does in the studio to record these covers, these tracks, and then they do a separate performance for the cameras, miming. And that gives all the fans, the people watching, a false impression that you can get that sound waving a microphone in front. I mean, there's one particular one where she's got an SMB7, I think they are, which is a Shure microphone. And yeah, they're brilliant microphones, granted, they're pretty good microphones, but she's waving it around in front of her, and there would be a tiny bit of handling noise, maybe, not just that, but you can sort of tell that the performance that she's giving is a camera performance, not a vocal performance. Also, if you look at the guitar, there's a guitar, it's been recorded perfectly well. It's like a stereo field, so that means that the microphone, that when the guitar was recorded, I think it was recorded separately, so that all the tones and all the lovely sound of the guitar comes out. So that would almost certainly be a studio recording. And then the vocals would have been recorded separately. And then they record a camera version for you guys to see and to think and imagine that this is a live take, where it's not. Another one of the videos, and it's not just this girl, Megan Davies, is not. There are lots and lots of high-yielding, and I mean, what I mean by high-yielding, I mean YouTubers with large amounts of subscribers, because people are blown away by their performance. And there's no doubt in my mind that they can perform like that. Megan has a beautiful voice and she can perform. But I'd like to see a truthful performance. I'd like to see her singing in front of the camera with the microphone live, like she's portraying that's happening when it's not. So that's what I want to see. Now, there's an awful lot of other, I'm only sort of picking out Megan because it's pretty obvious, even to me. But it wasn't, as I said before, when I first started watching YouTube, because I wanted to start my own channel. And I have started my own channel, as you know, because you're watching this. So I wanted to start my own channel, and I wanted to go old school on it. And what I mean by old school is when I sing and play guitar, I sing and play guitar, and I do it in front of the camera. And I'm not trying to say it's better to do that way. But what I'm trying to say is if you are doing it like that, then that's great. But if you're not doing it like that, well, tell your audience. Say that this is a recorded track and I'm miming to it. But you're probably not going to do that, are you? And that's the thing. That's the con that there is in the music business. It's all about this. People on stage as well doing the same thing. They think you can't notice, but people like Phil can and have, and they've proved it. And does it matter if people are enjoying what they're listening to? Well, yes, it does matter. And I said before, the reason why it matters on a YouTuber is that there are people not just like me, but younger people and more less experienced, should I say, that don't know that this is going on. And saying that, though, I think I was fooled as well, and that's it. Now I've become a bit more paranoid, as I was saying, about looking to these channels and thinking, there's no way I can sing like that. There's no way I can sing that well and play guitar at the same time. Now, some YouTubers can, and they're quite rightly, they are generating the subs that they deserve. But there's a lot that aren't. And whilst I'm on that subject of a lot that aren't, I brought this up in the video when I was talking to Sam, my friend who played drums on my album Some Light Shines. And he was sort of suggesting that there's quite a few guitarists that actually they play without the pressure and record. You still get a bit of red light scenario, so you still get a bit fearful, but there's no camera on you. So they'll record their really fast riffs, and they'll play it about 20 odd times, maybe 100 odd times to get it perfect. Then they'll switch the camera on and they'll mime to their own performance on the guitar. So they'll literally, it's not a live performance. They'll just have a picture of them playing the guitar, and they'll be doing the best that they can, but they won't necessarily be doing the best take, because all they're doing is for show. So they can put the emotion into it, and all that stuff, which when you're concentrating hard trying to play a very sophisticated technical guitar riff, well, you're probably pulling all sorts of funny faces, to try and get it right and do it. But to actually try and fool your subscribers or your viewers, as they are, saying, look, this is live, this is not, it's fake. You're faking your performance. The live take was the one without the pressure, without the camera on. And that's what it is. Now, another thing that I've noticed, and I think I am getting a bit paranoid about it, I don't know, but maybe I'm not, but I absolutely love listening to Radio 2's Piano Room. And for many years I've listened to the Piano Room, and I've thought, wow, what a brilliant vocal. What an amazing singer these people are, or these artists are. And I'm now even starting to doubt whether this is truthful. Now, I watched, the 2025 Piano Room, Radio 2's Piano Room. I suggest you go and watch it, see what you think, and see what you know. And I may be being a bit paranoid on it because of what I've been, listening to what Phil and Wings of Pegasus has been saying about all these people that mime, So I was watching Gary Barlow. Now, I'm a fan of Gary Barlow. I like him. He's a great singer. And I think not last year, I think it was last year, the year before, he did the New Year's countdown, if I remember rightly, and he was singing, supposedly live before the countdown, which I'm probably even disputing he was doing that now, but he probably was, okay, I'm not trying to say he wasn't. But there's a track that he did on the Radio 2's Piano Room, and it's his latest single. I can't remember the name of it, but it's obviously Gary Barlow and this lovely young lady called Colby Calliot. I may be saying the second name a bit wrong there, but and you listen to the first song that he did, which was one of his big hits, and then this second song comes on, and they start singing, and I notice a couple of times where the microphone, when Colby's singing, she's very mic technique. So she's like, when she's getting to the end of a line, she's pulling the microphone away. And one time, I might be imagining it, might not be, but I might be. Actually, Phil, I know you don't necessarily listen to what I'm saying and whatever it is, but Phil, if you want to have a look at this performance on Radio 2, it'd be nice to know. It'd be nice to know whether whether you think that she's miming to it. And I also, basically, what I'm trying to say is that I'm thinking, rightly or wrongly, that some of the tracks that they do on the Piano Room aren't the audio tracks, as it were. So what we might be listening to is all the effort that they've put into the vocal side of it, and then another performance that's played via, they've generally got, they just play the track, and maybe they're miming to it. Maybe I'm imagining things, but maybe they are. The other artist was Alki Brooks. Now, Alki Brooks is in her 80s. Now, I definitely don't want to say that that means anything. It doesn't. You can still have a perfect vocal when you're in your 80s. Again, there were some mouth movements that didn't match up, in my opinion, to the vocal that she was singing. Now, you could see she is singing to the people in the venue. There won't be very many, I don't think. I think it's just the orchestra and the guy that sort of runs the Radio 2 piano room, and all the engineers and everything, and you know, all that sort of lot. And so there's quite a few people in there, and I've no doubt that the performance that they heard, was the performance that that happened. You know, that happened in front of the microphone. It happened in front of the camera. However, I wonder whether there's some slight manipulation of the vocal afterwards, because these aren't live. They used to do the odd one or two live, if I remember rightly, but they're pre-recorded now. So the engineers have plenty of time to have a fiddle. And, you know, maybe they even call Elkie in and say, hey, come on, into the vocal booth. Let's just re-record this section of it. Yeah, and try and mime to what you was doing. That's great. Maybe they do that. Now, again, I might be being paranoid, but I don't know. I really don't know. So, yeah, Phil, if you're watching this, I really support your channel. I support what you're trying to do with authentic vocal. And, yeah, are these worth your time? Is it worth you having a look at the Radio 2's piano room? And also, I'm thinking it might be well worth you having a look at some of these YouTubers that say that they're singing live and they're actually miming. I think that would be a good service to offer for some YouTubers. Maybe they could be taken under the wing, excuse the pun, wings of Pegasus, and they could say, no, hang on, we're authentic vocalists, we sing live on our YouTube videos, and that might be a good service to the community, the music community. So, guys out there, I'm just saying, young people just starting off their YouTube channels, don't think that all the YouTube channels that get, you know, millions of subscribers are genuine. They can sing like that. Granted, they can actually sing like that in a studio environment, but not necessarily in front of a camera with a microphone and a guitar. So beware, they don't all sound how you think they do. So check that out first. And try not to compare yourself to them, because they're in some ways cheating and you might not be. You might be singing live, and I think everybody should sing live to a camera, because if you're advertising your wares, look, I can sing, I can play guitar, and I don't want to ever do that. I don't want to mime in front of my subscribers. I think that's very fair. So you will hear errors. You know, I'll keep doing it as many times as I can, but, you know, I'll pick the best performance that I've done and put that up. But it will be a live performance. It will be recorded live. I'll be singing live, and I'll be playing the guitar live as well. So if I'm doing a studio cover, and it's quite easy to do, because I've just done Bring Him Home, is it called? Which is a little bit outside of my normal music, normal singing voice. It's more of a show voice that I'm doing. And that's a studio recording, okay? So I've got my headphones on, I'm singing in front of the microphone, and you can tell because there's no picture of me singing it or lying to you saying that I'm singing it live in front of the camera, because I wasn't. And it was a proper studio recording, and it was genuine. A genuine recording in front of the studio, but in my studio, sorry. But there's no, as I said, I basically put stock video to things like that if I'm doing a cover and it's a proper true recorded cover. Now I've got a few covers out there. I think there's an EP that I did, and one or two of them I did sing live at the Abbey Road, but they weren't live in front of the camera. or in this room, you know, and that's what I'm trying to say more than anything, is that some of the ambience in the rooms, especially with some of the ones that Megan Davies does, you can see that she's singing in like a rather large room. And when she talks just before she starts singing, that's the true ambience of the room. That's what it should sound like when she sings. And then it cuts into this perfect vocal, perfect guitar playing. Everything about it is perfect because it's not live. She's not singing it in front of the camera. So I think I've gone over that point a little bit too much, maybe. And thank you for listening. See you on the next video. Thank you.